Hey everyone, welcome back to Uplifting Studios TV. And today it is a really special segment because I've got the Nzuri TV crew here with me. They recently launched their Nzuri TV show about a week ago. No, not a week ago. Um,
Days ago.
almost a week ago, right?
Yeah.
And it's brand new, premiered in Perth last weekend, and so excited to have the crew here. The crew means a lot to me, everybody. So I'll let you guys introduce yourselves. Emmanuel, we'll start with you because you are the man behind this amazing production.
Thank you so much, Annie, for having me. I am very delighted to be here with my team. I'm really grateful. My name is Emmanuel Onyegula. Um, I'm the founder and CEO of Beyond Films Production, but I'm also the executive producer of the Nzuri Show, Australia's own African talk show here in Perth, hosted by all blacks, made for TV. Thank
Made
you.
for TV. Wonderful. And we'll come back to you and we'll talk more about what is Nzuri TV, what does Nzuri mean for those who do not know Swahili, and what we can expect from the show and why now. So I've got lots of questions. So we'll just go around, and my sister Shanice from Kenya, girl, introduce yourself and tell us what you do on the Nzuri TV set.
I'm Shanice, and I work alongside Emmanuel. I do, we're pretty much a small team, so we do everything from camera to sound to, everything just behind the scenes work, which has been very fun.
So we can say you're the technical, the brains behind all this.
I wouldn't say brains, but I'm definitely the machinery. Everything that goes into making the show, what it is, all the technical side.
Yeah, and when I say that, I mean you are all super smart. Have so much respect and love for you all. Jessica Bailey, please introduce yourself, girl.
Hi, I'm Jessica Bailey, and I'm a co-host as well as a researcher for the Nzuri Talk Show.
Wonderful. And last but not least, Shiko, please introduce yourself.
My name is Shiko, as Annie has introduced. I am one of the co-hosts for the Nzuri talk show, and I'm very excited to be here today.
Wonderful. We're getting a little bit of an echo on you, Shiko. I'm not too sure, but hopefully that doesn't go ahead as we progress, but we'll still go ahead. So Emmanuel, back to you. You and I have been working alongside each other since the beginning of this year. On set, on something totally different. And COVID hit. Fortunately, after we had finished what we needed to do, I relocated from Perth over to New South Wales. And you have been so busy with your own production, putting Nzuri TV together. So for those of our viewers who do not know you, tell us a little bit about Nzuri TV. What is Nzuri TV?
So Nzuri TV, actually, it started way back in, let's say 3 years ago. It was the show concept, and the show gave birth to the platform. So the idea was I do just create content for ourselves, content I could relate to, content that people like can relate to and understand. And that was how the Nzuri Show was birthed. It took 3 years for that to happen. As at the time that the idea came, I wasn't ready. There was just so much going on. I had going on with life at the time. But I just kept writing notes and putting stuff together. Hopefully, one day I would I would bring this thing to life. Unfortunately for me, at the late 2019, I felt okay, yeah, maybe it was time to get this going. I thought I had the basic things I needed, the basic skills, the skills I needed to get this going. I had at the time, so I had started in for those that I thought shared the same that understood what I was trying to accomplish and that had the same passion and drive as I did. And I was
Mm.
able to put this amazing team together. And then the Nzuri team was birthed. And so we're working towards the Nzuri Show, but we needed a platform for the Nzuri Show. The
Mm.
idea at the time was, create something and drop it somewhere where I didn't actually know where, but just create something,
Create
and that was how the
something.
Nzuri TV was birthed. So we needed to then create a platform for us to, house our content, and so the Nzuri TV was birthed. And for those that don't know what Nzuri means, I've had a lot of people call it, they actually don't know what the name meant, and call it
Mm.
also Nzuri, but it's Nzuri, and it is beauty or all forms of goodness in Swahili, and that's a very beautiful name. When I came across that name, I was like, wow, that's actually what I want us to represent. That is what we are, and
Mm.
it tells everything about Africa and its people, our life generally, and that's briefly how the Nzuri thing all came about.
Oh, wonderful. Why now? And where did the need for Nzuri TV, and why now? Because the content is very different. Different in terms of it's not stuff that we see on mainstream Australian television. We are all here based in Australia. Why now, and why this particular type of content, Emmanuel?
Hmm. Man, if not now, when would when? That's what I say to myself. It has to come to a point where you like, no, we have to fix this thing. Um, for the why now, I may not be able to answer it, but personally for me, I just felt within me, it is just the right time to do this. I started taking this step even before the Black Lives Matter and every other thing started. So it was something that happened prior to all this global the racial issues that we've been having lately. So I just felt there is a time for everything under the sun, and for the Nzuri Show and for content like this, it has to be now. We've
Mm.
been here myself. I've been here. I came here as a student 6 years ago. I've been here for 6 years now, and watching TV has become uninteresting. Like I never interests me anymore to watch TV, because really there are amazing content there are rich content on TV, but really there isn't much for me. And for us as a people, media is something we need to get into if you want to pass a message to your people. If you culturally, if you want to speak to people, you need to get into a platform where they um, a platform like what we have, where you can easily communicate culture, you can easily communicate whatever information you have to people. And also, for us as a people, we need to have our footprint here in the country where we now
Mhm.
call. A lot of people in Australia do not know what it means to be African. A lot of
Mhm.
Australians don't understand what it means to come from Africa. So for me, it was high time we corrected that. These people, your new neighbors, they are human beings, but then it's also important you understand these people that you now call neighbor. And for me, that's more or less what the Nzuri TV is there to address. Introduce contents to Australia, to the Australian mainstream media, that it
Mhm.
for them to understand these people that we call neighbors now. If I make sense, if that
Yeah.
makes
So
sense.
what it does make sense to me. What content can we expect to see? If somebody's listening and they're like, Nzuri TV sounds interesting, what can I expect to see?
So what we're bringing to life is all things entertainment, news, lifestyle, and arts. And these are the key things that define Africa as a people, and these are the things that define us as a race. We're going to talk about issues. We're going to talk about life. Um, we're going to talk about our struggles, our successes as a people, our journey, and essentially also, when we talk about issues, for instance, we talk about marriage. We're trying to look at marriage from um, the traditional perspective. So, as an African, what does marriage mean to me? But now I live in Australia. It means a totally different thing to people. So we talk about bride price where we come from, but over here you don't talk about bride price. So we then tend to marry these two things together. Talk about sexuality, a whole lot of things. So how do we sit back home? How is it here? But then we as cross-cultural, like we've been there, we're here now. How do we then, put these two things together? That's yeah. And then news and a whole lot of other things that will come under the platform.
All right. Well, thank you. And right now, what we are showing you is a little bit of a show reel of Nzuri TV, and it is currently airing, if I am not wrong, on YouTube, Emmanuel. So people can head over to YouTube and check it out there. How often does it come on?
So it is a weekly episode. It's a series. It's a 10 series episode where, and then we'll have every week at 4 p.m. every Friday, we'll have new episodes going live. And then a repeat episode will go live on Facebook on Wednesday at about the same time. And we'll run for the next 10 weeks.
Okay. And what's the social media handle for that, for them to find it on YouTube? What's a YouTube channel name?
Our YouTube channel is Nzuri TV. Just go to YouTube. Nzuri TV. There's just one Nzuri TV on YouTube. Same on Facebook, Nzuri TV, and same on Instagram, Nzuri TV.
Wonderful. All right, Jessica, I am coming to you now, and the question is, what has your experience been as a co-host? And I know we don't have Linda with us tonight, but Shiko is here and you're here. What has your experience been as a co-host?
It's been refreshing, I would say, exhilarating to be able to, have a platform such as that, communicate my mind, talk to people who are from my background, especially for the first time. It's exciting just having that voice. And of course, being on camera is something that I've always loved doing. So, yeah, it's been great.
Yes, I know the camera is something that you're really passionate about. Perhaps tell us a little bit about why you are drawn to working in front and behind the camera, so that we can get to know a little bit about you. I know lots about you, but I want our audience to get to know you, Jessica, and just tell us why this work that you're doing with Emmanuel is so aligned with your vision for your future.
So I grew up dreaming to become an actor. But when I moved to Australia, that wasn't there. Like there was really no representation of me. So I knew straight away that there was no way I was going to do that. And going to study film. I went to study film because I wanted to learn how to put myself on screen. I would say. Let me sum it up that way. Since no one was putting me or putting any person of my color on screen, I thought, if I go to uni to learn how to operate the camera, then I can put myself, like even if no one is holding the camera for me, I could flip it around and put myself and just record myself. So that was what took me to behind the camera. Otherwise, it was front at first. But it's been great. And just meeting Emmanuel with that vision, I did journalism as well. So it was so easy to click. We're definitely headed the same direction.
And you've got your own production company that you are working with. So this is your area, television, production, film, media. This is your spot.
Certainly. Yeah.
All right. Now, Shiko, tell me, what have you learned along the way? Because I know that, storytelling has been something so important to you and important to the person that you want to be and how you want to showcase yourself. What has it meant to you to be part of this production, and what have you learned?
Yes. So for me, it has been a very amazing experience. And the reason I say amazing, as you pointed out, I see myself as a storyteller, as an storyteller. So it is to have the opportunity to come up with like-minded people from all the different parts of Africa, with the same mission of telling our story in, as we have said earlier, in the very authentic way, and not taking away or putting on, but just saying our stories. Because I feel like with the Nzuri team, I have learned that my story matters, and just us being there as a team and sharing on screen our individual experiences as people of color, no one can take that away from us. So that has been my experience. I always come out of whether we are doing a filming or we're just having a chat on the background when the cameras are off. I always learn something about my team members, and I'm pretty sure they do the same about me. But one thing that stands out is that we are very passionate storytellers.
And how would you say you complement each other? Because you've got a different personality to Jessica and Linda. How do you complement each other with the different topics that you tackle?
Yes, so it's funny because some of our topics are, controversial in the sense that they sometimes can be out of our comfort zone, but but we feel like, and our director Emmanuel, we have all sat down and seen that these are topics that sometimes affect people, but they don't naturally talk about it. So in the first season, we have had very, sex, love, and relationships. We have been basing our topics on that. And yeah, just one thing I have learned is that, it's okay to speak about it and bring our culture to it and bring our perspective, because it gets people thinking. And Jessica is, she comes with this energy of a very passionate person. Anyone who meets Jessica can attest to that. She's very passionate. She articulates herself. And it's surprised that a lot of people from our premiere, they had that, a few friends that I've spoken to, they say that they've come out knowing that, they're not a cleaner. And I just love how she's very passionate. She's very unforgettable in that sense. And Linda, on the other hand, is a very soft-spoken but still a very strong character in her own right. She's a very funny character. She likes to laugh so much, and she always brings that lightness to the situation. I find myself to be like more on the serious side. So having someone like Linda, bringing that lightness to the situation, it just makes it so worthwhile. Having a passionate person like Jess, bringing some life into the topics, literally breathing life into the topics, it just, it just creates that diversity. And our thoughts are very, different, but we also complement each other in such, in a way that even as we talk, when we sit on that table, no matter how heated the argument is, we always end up, like laughing it off or just having a good time and saying whether we agree to disagree or whether we all agree. It's just always a fun time because we're all very passionate, and that stands out.
Wow. I can't wait to watch it now. I can't wait to watch it and see your personalities shining through. And the thought of, love, sex, relationships, that's been a strong theme in the African narrative, particularly in Nollywood, the kind of shows that are featured. But perhaps for us here in Australia, we don't get to see that kind of stories told, or African stories told in that way. So I think Nzuri TV is certainly introducing something that I personally haven't seen on screen here in Australia. So that's that is really interesting. Now, Shanice, the tech behind all this. Talk us through what your experience has been in the work that you've done behind the scenes. What's your experience been like? And you've been part of the entire season, have you?
Yeah, I came on board for the first episode in, I think it was January, when we started recording the episodes. And it's always really fun on set, whether you're, working behind the scenes or in front. And we're always having discussions like with the with the hosts themselves, like Jess, Linda, and Shiko. we sometimes have to like get ourselves to stop because we're always talking about the actual behind the camera. And yeah, it's just a really fun energy. It's very professional. Like one thing that I'll attest to about Emmanuel, like he always runs a really professional set, and I was really, yeah, I've been really privileged to work on a set like that because I've been part of sets before where it hasn't been as as tightly run as that. So it's been really a really good learning experience for me as well. And yeah, it's just been, I think, a rewarding experience as a whole for everyone on the team. You just feel like you're part of something really great that's happening, something
Yeah.
sort of like, yeah, a first for Perth and a first for Australia. You're part of a sort of
Mm.
that's changing the scene in the media industry. And that's something that I just, yeah, I wanted to be a part of and be involved with. And I'll always keep putting my hand for opportunities like this. So it's been awesome.
Mm. Oh, wow. Hearing you share how that has meant to you, being the first of its kind, now on this sort of level and doing it independently, I think that's something really important to mention, that this is not something that has had a lot of financial backing, with partnerships or anything like that. This has been the sheer grit and will to do this. And I think that's what sets this apart, and that's what I am so proud of. And Emmanuel, when you invited me to come on board as a mentor, and Shiko and Jessica, I support them as their life coach. It has been so incredibly fulfilling. Like even just seeing everything that happened at the launch and just feeling like it was my own as well, like feeling like, oh my gosh, this is such a big deal, and I think the only people who know it's a big deal is us, because we know what it's taken to get it to this level. So incredibly proud of you all. And I want us to shift gears and talk about our experiences as migrant people of color, because I realize as we're having this discussion, there are things that we're talking about that we know about, but perhaps the wider audience doesn't know about, things to do with representation, things to do with the fact that, our stories that are not told as often as we'd like to have them told, our African stories. So can we just dig into that a little bit? And perhaps, Emmanuel, I'll come back to you and say, what are the challenges that you faced as a Black man, pursuing your dreams here in Australia? What are some of the barriers that you face? And even maybe use Nzuri TV as an example.
Oh, thank you so much, Annie. I would say, like most of us know, the challenges are very real. As a migrant here, you have limited resources. Um, Mind you, we're economic migrants, so we came here because we needed a better life. And coming here as an economic migrant, primarily, the main goal was to earn a living, like go to work and make some money. But at some point, I had to decide, okay, do I want to be happy while making this money or living my life here, or do I want to chase career, chase something I could be happy doing and still making money somewhere along the line? I used to work. I came here to study engineering. I finished. I worked for a while before I went full time into this. It was a very difficult decision for me to make, but I had to at some point. Um, to follow and pursue this filmmaking as a full-time filmmaking as a career. At some point, I had to put my car on the road. I drove Uber for about 10 months just to sustain myself and my family earlier on in the business, and still, raise some money to buy equipment and stuff. Those are the challenges. Those are some of the things you face real as a migrant. I couldn't get out to the bank and take a loan because nobody's going to listen to you. As a migrant, you don't have any credit history, you don't have anything. But then also, for us as a people, I believe at some point we would need to start, taking some of those steps. It's going to be difficult. I don't mean, most of us know this. I know you know this. It's not never going to be easy. But as a people, for us, we could change, for us to impact lives. There are sacrifices that need to be made. And for me, those are the sacrifices I needed to do. We need to tell our stories the most authentic ways. We need to build platforms for ourselves. I said on the day of the launch, it's not enough for us to, go online and share posts about Black Lives Mattering, about all this, if we're not ready and willing to invest or build institutions to address this injustice we face. Because if you don't build those institutions, nobody's going to build them. If you don't invest in those, nobody's going
Mhm.
to do that. We'll just keep, making noise. I call them noise online. Apologies, I don't mean to offend anybody. But I just feel sometimes we over exaggerate, just make so much noise online, and then when it comes to doing the real deal, we're not there. We're
Mhm.
nowhere to be found. Nobody's ready to do it. Um, but yeah, I don't want to. If I can, I don't want to go too far into that. But yeah, there are sacrifices to be made. For me, that was a sacrifice I
Mhm.
had to
Yeah, and what I love about your story, Emmanuel, is you've literally put your money where your mouth is. You
make.
know,
Exactly.
you're not just speaking and saying, "Oh, this needs to happen. Oh, we need to see this." You're going out there. You're using your own resources and making this happen. So incredibly proud of you, um, Jessica. What are some of the challenges that you faced as a migrant woman of color, calling Australia home and trying to get into your dream career?
Um, well, as uh, a migrant person, like as a new person to any country at all, it is challenging enough as it is, right? And then being a person of color in a white society, it just makes it even more difficult. But we are lucky being in Australia with so much resources. Australia, I would say, is very empathetic. I would say, um, yeah, there's just so many things to empower us here and to help us to become better Australians. Um, yeah, that's all I have to say with that.
All right. Chico, what about you? What are some of the barriers that perhaps you've encountered, the challenges? And I know for you, you wear quite a number of different hats. You know, you are a nurse, you are a model, and you are an inspiration or somebody who is a mentor to young women, and you're encouraging them to find their confidence. And there's a lot. You're a writer, you're a speaker, you're a number of things. What are some of the challenges that you've experienced?
Yeah, thank you for that question, Annie. I'm very flattered. Thank you. This is in this land, we all, we try, right? You come here. I relocated 10 years ago, and I was young. I didn't know much about, I was trying to discover myself. And so
Yeah.
just being in a journey, you get thrown into the deep waters because you've come here for school and you know that you're expected to graduate and become, a professional. And so I came, studied my nursing degree and finished. And after I was finished, I was like, okay, I have what I came for, but I still
Mhm.
didn't feel satisfied. I felt like I had something to offer. And so I had so much fear. So one of my challenges was feeling inadequate, feeling fearful. And the reason for that is because I didn't have many people coming my way and saying, you are awesome, you are great. So I just needed that. And so I just gave myself a nudge. And I think for me, yeah, that was one of the challenges. So my spiritual life, just helped me. Like, so for me, it's God who's helped me through my journey and even like meeting other people. But yeah, becoming a model was also another challenge because when I went to modeling school, it was just me and another African girl and another Indian girl, and we always used to find ourselves together because first of
Mhm.
all, for us, especially the two of us, the African girls, we didn't have the long hair. So if they wanted something like a certain look, for us, we either had to put on weaves or they just didn't know what to do with our hair. So it was very obvious, and we kind of felt it like we were not part of the group. So we always used to stay together. And going back and forth, I can just keep going on and on about the challenges that are faced. But one thing I think that now that I'm seeing, having platforms like Nzuri, having platforms like the ones that we are creating, everyone in our team is a creative in one way or another, and they're all running amazing programs that really inspire me. So seeing these people in this space that I'm in with the Nzuri team, creating a space for us to tell our stories and to express ourselves and to learn how to be confident, and not just that, but to pass the baton to other young women and other young men, give them that opportunity. Someone like Shanice, who completed her school, not too long ago, having that opportunity to be behind the camera. Someone like me who's, never been on a talk show, being in this space is such a privilege. So yeah, just as Emmanuel said, rewriting our stories and using the resources that we have available for us, and just articulated, being in a land of opportunities. What can we do for ourselves? And that's what I feel like we are getting onto as a team.
Yeah. Oh, that is just so well said, Shiko. And the amazing thing as I hear you all speak is that things are not as they used to be. For me, I've lived in Australia for 20 years. So when I first came, things were very, 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 very different. And so for you who's been here for 10 years, and then Emmanuel, like, oh man, it's been a hard 6 years. But look at what you've done. Look at what you've done in 6 or 7 years. When I was here for 6 or 7 years, I was still growing, still in the grind, still trying to figure out life. So I think for those who are coming after us, they are finding better opportunities. They're finding, people who look and sound like them, who are in positions of leadership, who are in positions of influence, and they're aspiring to be more, aspiring to do better and bigger things. And I think that is a wonderful thing to see that progress happen.
And that's sorry just and that's what for me that would be that is one of my goal. It's difficult. I mean, you just said something very important here. 20 years ago, it's a whole different thing. It was difficult. You could even think about it. But for me, 6 years, it's a whole lot of time also. But then we'll be able to do this in 6 years. I reckon in another 3 years' time, someone coming in, it's going to be a lot more easier for people to step out and live their dreams.
Absolutely.
You can just get in, get yourself fixed. You see a platform like this, you see people like yourself. You just tell yourself, well, if these guys can be there, can do it. Oh, really? I can do it. You don't need to think twice. You just, go for it. And that would be my greatest achievement.
I
Yeah,
agree.
yeah.
Like, it's easier. Yeah. And can I just say that women like you are why some of us do what we do, because you've obviously paved the way for us. Like, even at the beginning, Miss and I and Shanice was there as well, when you spoke to us about, you guided us, and just being there for us. That makes women more confident, like how you have taken your time to mentor us with our talk show or with our individual lives. So I feel like that's one of the reasons why we are doing what we do as women of color.
Yeah, for sure. I think the fact that somebody can leave home, can leave their African country, and come to Australia and see people who are in positions that inspire them and go like, wow, she's doing that, he's doing that, he's got a production company, I'm gonna have one as well, or I can do what I've set out to do. Like, you have so much more hope. When I came, we had big dreams, but the jobs that were available, or the jobs that a lot of the Africans were doing, and my friends, were cleaning jobs. And that's what was available. So that's how we hooked each other up. You arrived and you were looking for some extra pocket money. We started out, simple cleaning jobs that didn't require much skill, other than just saying I'll be here at this time and I'm willing to work these hours and I'll do a good job. And that's what we did for years, cleaning job, factory jobs, and that's what it was. And it wasn't because we didn't dream big or want bigger, but it was majority were doing that. And I think as we begin to shift the narrative and shift the story, as others are coming in, certainly they are coming in and seeing things from a very different lens.
Exactly.
Can I?
Right. Absolutely, Shanice. I was going to come to you.
I just want to say from the difference in generation, like my parents who came with us when we were little, and they didn't really have the option but to do those jobs like cleaning and caring and all of those kinds of jobs. I think for my generation, we're just so grateful that they have seen how it is coming here, and they've also given us the opportunity to explore what we really want to do. And I think that's such an important thing for parents to now see kids and young ones just going to do whatever they want to do, whatever sort of sparks joy in them. So I think we need to be grateful for and just create more space for them.
Wonderful. Thank you for that, Shanice. Now, as we close, as we wind down, Emmanuel, please share with us what your vision is, and not just for Nzuri TV, but beyond, as you're building this empire, what your vision is as far as being a filmmaker goes.
Thank you so much, Annie. My vision as an individual is simple, get Australian, diversify the media industry in Australia as much as possible, get Black people or African people or people of color into the media industry, into the media space. That is it. Put it in simple terms. And how do we do that? We keep talking, we keep knocking on doors, SBS, ABC, whichever doors we can knock, we can, just keep knocking. One of those doors will crack open someday. And someday we'll have the Nzuri Show on TV for you to tune on your TV and just watch. That's for the Nzuri Show. But for the Nzuri TV as a platform, for me, it is bigger than Australia. It is bigger than what we're seeing today. It is more of an international platform that we'll tell stories, talk about movies, talk about entertainment, talk about news. There are no news platform that really focuses on Africa. We've got Al Jazeera, talk about Middle East, a whole lot of other stuff. We've got CNN and the likes. But we don't have anything like that covers the stories, the positive stories that's coming out of Africa. We only hear the negative stories, and Africa is seen as a place where you have hungry people dying of hunger, starvation, and all this sort of stuff. There are success stories that are not being covered in Africa. That people are making it, people are changing lives in the continent, but none of this is being covered. And it's simple. I just see it as people making money from Africa, through humanitarian grounds, so under the guise of humanitarian aid and all this other stuff, show them what they want to see, and then they will donate money because someone is dying of hunger. I see this platform as changing that narrative over time. It's not going to happen today. It's not going to happen in 6 months, but it's going to start from somewhere, and we've started it, and it's just it can only get better.
Wow. Wow. Thank you, Emmanuel. Such an inspiration. And what I truly believe is that, there are two narratives. There is obviously the one of pain and struggle, and, where we have disease and illnesses and poverty, absolutely poverty in levels that we have never seen ourselves as Africans on a very, very deep level. That story is there. It exists, but there's also another story. There's the beauty of Africa, the richness, the culture. There's so much more to Africa than what Westerners look and see and go like, Africa, the first thing they think of is struggle, is lack, is sickness. There is so much more to that, so much more. And if we can begin to talk about the goodness, and it only can come from us, sharing the goodness. So Guys, as we close, I just want you to share maybe one tip, one piece of advice to somebody coming to Australia, a fellow migrant, of color, and particularly speak to those coming from Africa, because I know this is what your show covers. It's all about African stories. So maybe share a tip or a word of encouragement to somebody who's watching this and aspiring to come to Australia or are brand new here. And Shiko, I will come to you first.
Yes, that's a very good question. I feel like for me, if I was to give a piece of advice to someone who's looking at either relocating to Australia or maybe has just freshly moved here, I would say it's don't listen to the naysayers. Sometimes you can have a lot of fear that's related to the unknown. You come to a country where you don't feel like, this is not your motherland, and you can be afraid of the unknown. So I would say find a community, like the Nzuri community. Find a community of like-minded people. If you're pursuing something, find people. And there's so many organizations now that are providing that. So network and find people who are like-minded. That way, they will help you overcome the barriers or the fears that are associated with not knowing. Because opportunities are there, but you just need to know where they are. And also, if you feel isolated or you feel like this is not the place where you're able to express yourself, Nzuri is here to encourage you that your story matters. And yeah, find us on YouTube or Instagram and Facebook and get inspired by seeing people like you just sharing stories that you can relate to.
Wonderful. Thank you, Shiko. Jessica.
Shiko has said it all. I would say moving here near, just stick to yourself, stick to your passion. Don't allow fear of your color to put you down. Keep knocking on doors, ask questions, go out there. Just don't lock yourself in the door, because nothing is going to happen. No one is going to come and present those opportunities to you. So yeah, network. Throw yourself out there in your community that you found, just like Chico mentioned. Just throw yourself there, and don't be afraid to knock. Continue knocking, and do not change who you are just to suit where you are at. Remain, stick to who you are.
Stick to who you are. Wonderful. Thank you, Jessica. Shanice will finish off with you and tell us what are some of your parting words that you'd like to share.
Yeah, I'll just advise anyone to support. Don't get blinded by the competition. Sometimes in our communities, we just want to do the best and do anything to succeed. But it's also important to remember that support. Sometimes you might be the only one backing your friend, supporting their music pursuits, or whether they want to be a photographer or whatever. I think it's just important to have that community support. Keep
Hmm. Wonderful. Which brings me to say that, Emmanuel and I, we've got very similar work that we're doing. And we've never been in competition with each other, Emmanuel. It's always been from a place of how can we further this? How can we do better and leave a legacy for those who are coming behind us to pick up that baton, as Shiko said, and run their race? So this is our time and this is our race, and how well can we run it? And I love the fact that we've come together, that we are supporting each other. I love the fact that you guys are here on this platform that seeks to talk more about the power of representation, because in all honesty, you cannot be what you cannot see. You simply cannot be what you cannot see. And so I'm so glad that we're having this discussion today. And for those of you who are watching, if you haven't subscribed to Uplifting Studios TV, go ahead and do that. And if you're not yet following us on social media, go ahead and do that, Uplifting Studios TV. Thank you so much for coming on board, sharing from your hearts, guys. I am so blessed and my heart is full. And I wish each and every one of you um, the very best, because you guys have gigantic dreams. You've got big dreams. You've got the kind of dreams that give people goosebumps. Like they're dreams that scare you. And I'm glad you're dreaming big and chasing it. And today is a testament of what it means to chase your dreams and make them a reality. Thank you so much, Nzuri Show crew. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Annie, for having
Thank
us.
you for having
Thank you
us.
so much.